tell the story about your daughter doing the shimmy.
What?
Your daughter doing the shimmy.
Oh, yeah. On there, too, on the same
sure.
thing?
Why not?
He and Houdini asked me to bring my little daughter, who was 5 years old, Marie, to the show and do the shimmy, which he originally does so well. So I dressed her up, and he called us out of the audience. We were in the audience, you know, and he called, and he said to the people, here comes my little niece. So she's going to do the shimmy for us. Now, they applauded, and he said to her, now, after you did the shimmy, Bessie's going to give you a present, you know. So for that, she went up, and she's shimmying, and she was cute looking. She had a lot of hair, and the dress was very short. She had a cute figure, and she shimmied and always kept looking when that present's coming, though. So my sister came out dressed like Lord Fauntleroy, beautiful white satin. Oh, she looked beautiful. And she handed her the gift, you know, flowers in a box. So then we went so then when he'd do a trick or something, he'd say, my favorite sister-in-law made these shirts, you know, wide armholes. He'd always mention those things. Or when the shorts I made for him, too, yeah. So all that, he always, my favorite. I know we were in a Bushwick theater, and we had a whole lot of people were going to go. And sure enough, he comes out and says that, too. Oh, did they laugh? He wants to ring you on the act. Oh, he was very good to me. He liked me, too. He always was my favorite sister-in-law. And he'd always sit next to me when we ate. And he'd do a trick, but he'd only do it once. And I always was ready for him when he's going to do it. I could never see how he did it. You know, stand a glass in another glass. And I thought, oh, how he do it again? I didn't catch that once.
Didn't your mother ask him how he did one?
Yeah, she always asked him, sure.
What did he tell her?
He liked my mother. My mother lived over there, too, you know, for a while. In that place.
Didn't Houdini arrange your wedding?
Oh, yeah. He hired coaches we had that time. And men playing a brass band on the corner. We had them standing on the corner. And the horses on the things we had jumped high, you know, when they heard those men play. So we got married in a church where stairs were that way and that way. We went up there and in there. And so, of course, they threw rice and every old thing on us. And on the steps, I had an argument with my sister-in-law. She threw confetti right in my face. You know, her and I never got along. And that's what she did. She threw it right in my face. And I said, ooh, you cruel thing. Right on the steps, you know. I couldn't help myself. But she was invited to the wedding, but my mother told her, you shouldn't have done that. Why, you could have blinded her. Just, you know, I was coming down the steps and she was like, threw it up. So at the wedding, I don't know how many we had. My brother-in-law owned a tailor shop, you know, with 20 power machines, you know. So we got boards and covered that all up, and those were tables and for all the food that we had and all that stuff. Houdini arranged everything. Yeah, we had a good time. But then he gave another wedding to my niece, my sister Stella. No one ever knew her. She lived in Connecticut. She was a friend of Bessie, but she died early and she left this little girl. And we raised her from when she was 7 years old. And when she was 3 years old, she had polio. And Houdini's took her all over Europe to have her fixed up, and they couldn't do anything for her. They were going to cut the tendons, but my sister wouldn't allow it. It's a good thing she didn't. But all her life, she walked this way, like that. You know, Beatrice, her name is Beatrice. So, but she was a good singer. She had a good voice. So she was on the choir in the church. And then one day, she'd always go for rehearsal. They liked to hear her sing. So she said, I met her, and she, you know, she walked like this, way down, you know. And she wasn't much, she was nice looking and all, and she was pleasant. She said, I met a lovely fella. So we all almost fell back. what fellow would want her. And she brought him over, and he was a swell-looking guy, Phil Durdall, his name was. And she introduced him, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, he asked her to get married. So my mother thought that was, and Houdini had the biggest wedding for them in Palm Garden. He hired this hall. We had breakfast, lunch, and supper. What a wedding that was. Oh, boy, we had everything. And what people. Houdini paid for it. And was he tickled. And he liked Trixie, we called her, you know. So she had 2 children. She died about 2 months ago. She got that old.